For Josh Allen, I thought it was very open, the way he's like, maybe I need to just think a little less and play.
All right, welcome back to the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel presented by Connors and Ferris. Mike Catalana. I am Jenna Cottrell. The Bills with practice today ahead of their meeting with the Bucs on Thursday here at home. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We always appreciate it. Let's talk Josh Allen.
Yeah, very interesting today. Think less, play football.
Yeah.
Kind of was his quote. I asked him a question, a little clumsy on my part. I kept going. But,
at
Josh,
one point in my head, I was like, stop it.
You were like, come on, get to the point.
Yeah.
But I was trying to keep him away from the cliche. And I'm sorry, a lot of people at home will always say, you guys don't ask the tough questions and whatever. There's times they can easily bail to the cliche and just say, we got to execute better. He didn't really do that.
No.
For Josh Allen, I thought it was very open, the way he's like, maybe I need to just think a little less and play. And he talked about his mindset. I thought it was kind of refreshing.
I did too. I think it's obvious that there's been struggles with this offense. They are not scoring at the way that they want to or the way we're expected them to. And I think Josh's answer, although it was quite simple of like, I just need to maybe play football, I think that is something, I feel like sometimes he's just too much in his head about stuff. Obviously, he wants to protect the football, but at a certain point, I feel like, Mike, maybe it's just overcomplicated.
Well, I think there's a couple of things there. There's the playing football part. You asked him about running.
Yes.
And he said?
No. I asked him, did he intentionally decide to look to run the ball less? And he said, no.
All right. He's saying that's the case. The other thing is, he's protecting the football.
Yep.
I mean, he did have the turnover early in the game, and that worked. For those few weeks, he was protecting the ball, and they were lighting up the scoreboard, and it hasn't been working. But I think sometimes the narrative is they're not letting Josh be Josh.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he feels that way within the offense, but Jenna, he did talk about a little bit of his mental state, his mindset going into it. Low positive.
So he said, he was asked about, on the sidelines, kind of where he's at in terms of it's a low positive mindset of trying to not go the roller coaster ride of all the highs and all the lows, of kind of just trying to keep everything in perspective, him being kind of focused and locked in. A lot of people have commented about seeing a different Josh Allen on the sidelines for those cutaways that you see on the broadcast. I will say he said it was a conscious decision after the week 1 loss to the Jets. I feel like, though, honestly, I feel like this kind of stretches back to the end of last season as well, of Josh kind to try to maintain that mindset of focusing, not getting too emotional. Because while Josh Allen, we've seen him be high emotions guy, I think for him, he says he focuses better and plays better, he believes, when he's in that type of mindset.
Yeah, and it's about a balance. It's not that he can't get excited, but he's trying not to roller coaster it. And he did say, and I've said this to a lot of people, like, he has a lot on his mind during a game.
Correct.
That's just the way it is for the quarterback. So in order to be, you could get a little bit rattled. Now, a lot of times people have referenced, they look back at that Kansas City game, the 13-second game, and he's yelling on the sidelines, encouraging his teammates. You were actually on the sidelines, and you saw him on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, he was screaming in his teammates' face, but in a way that was reminiscent of what we saw in that game against the Chiefs a couple years ago that ended in 13 seconds, that game they did lose. But at the same moment, I saw that yesterday. Or on Sunday, I got a video of him. Who's going to be the guy talking to the defense, pumping them up.
But it wasn't on the network broadcast,
Correct.
I don't think.
And I feel like
that's
where you need to be also aware of the fact that there are things going on that the TV cameras don't always catch that are on for the national broadcast. They can't get everything. And
Jenna gets it. The networks missed it.
No, I will say, though, sometimes you have to be aware of that. Like, even I think of the Diggs moment when he was slamming his, the Microsoft Surface and he was really upset. You get that one clip, and sometimes you don't get the context that goes along with it.
Yeah. By the way, you are the first person to ever reference that as a Microsoft Surface and not an iPad.
Yeah, no, it's fair. Only because they go through those. I was about to say iPads, but
it's Surface. They just throw them down.
Slam them down.
Look, we asked the other players about that, and Diggs was like, Josh's got a lot going on in the game. And I think Gabe Davis says we see the same Josh. And I believe that. I think Josh Allen is looking at it longer term. Like, I don't want to say big picture, not involving the game, but the full game. Because you can't. Doesn't mean he doesn't get excited. Like, you also saw him when they scored that touchdown, it was quick. He and Diggs, quick celebration, but that when Diggs got up and ran in the end zone.
Yeah.
But it was not 20 minutes here. This was a
Correct.
tight game, and they were trying to win. So I think it's the right mindset. But part of it is they haven't had the success.
Yeah.
So we haven't seen the big moments and the big success and the big celebrating over these last 3 weeks. They were down the whole Jacksonville game. They were down the whole Patriots game, and they just survived against the Giants.
They were down in the Giants for the most part.
They were down in that
Yeah.
game. So I think it's harder to see that, but I have a sense that we will see a little different version of Josh on Thursday night.
I also think it is important for fans to remember that when the Patriots drive down the field and score a touchdown, if I'm Josh Allen, I don't want my quarterback being like, well, it's over. Oh, we should just roll it up now. Like, he has to be in that mindset of, okay, this is a long game. He cannot be all over the place because of what his responsibilities are, how locked in he needs to be. And I would rather see Josh kind of have that. If this is the ceiling and this is the floor, there's a lot of leeway there. I would rather have it be a little bit more even keel, because then, like you talked about, that ability to focus is just different. You're not panicking. Now, there are moments where you're like, okay, maybe the urgency should be picked up a little bit, and I can understand that criticism. But at the same point, I think low positive is really important for him, and he feels like that works for him. It's also nice, too, because you have Stephon Diggs, who is a constant energy juice guy, getting at other guys' faces, pumping up the defense as well, and being another guy that can bring energy.
Yeah.
I think it's a balance, and I think people need to remember that. I also think people need to remember you are only seeing what you see on the broadcast. You don't get to see the full context of the game sometimes, and that a lot of times does matter.
Yeah. Low positive is an interesting phrase. I go with high negative. I'm that way. I have moments.
They talk about this like with meditate. So I meditate, and like low positive is this mindset of being present, but also not being too reactionary. And I think that a lot of times the natural instinct for all of us is to be reactionary.
Yeah, I mean, it is an emotional game. It is a
Correct.
physical game. And so you're playing, you're getting hit, you're making a big play, like all those things come in. But he is not playing, no disrespect to any of the other players. It's a very difficult job. But there's nothing like being the quarterback. That play is coming into your helmet. You've got to call the protections. You've got to see what's out there.
You've got to diagnose what's going on.
Yes.
You're running for your life at some moments as well.
It's a balance. But I think if you start to see more success, I think it'll feel a little bit more like Josh. Now, I will say this. It's also been that they don't want Josh Allen to run. I wouldn't go that far. I'm watching a lot of things now, and Dan Orlovsky had a video out about kind of a spy on Allen and keeping him there and then bringing pressure at other times. Like, they are playing the Bills a certain way because the Bills' offense is not making defenses pay for those circumstances. I think you will see some of those adjustments because Tampa's going to try to do what New England did, what the Giants did, because it's worked. So I think that, and that goes to Ken Dorsey and to Josh Allen and to every player on the team. It just does, because they have to see what teams are doing, because believe me, they're going to do it again and again until you figure out a way to beat it.
And we've heard so much talk about rhythm and how this offense likes to be in rhythm. And I asked Stephon Diggs, like, what does that feel like for you? And then also, how can you get better into that when things feel off sync?
Yeah.
And he talked about how, like, that rhythm feels like the snowball going down the hill. Like, it doesn't mean everything's going to be easy, but that momentum and what that can do for this offense. And also just, Dion even talked about it. When you're shooting basketball and you see it go through the hoop.
That's the way I was. Seriously, I'd knock down the threes.
The weatherman, making it rain.
I can make it rain. And look, if you want to have fun, go to the ice cream shop.
Oh.
It was so good.
It was so good.
It was Diggs.
Yeah, Stephon Diggs said that.
About having fun. It's like, go to the ice cream shop.
Yeah.
And then he mentioned someplace in Hamburg.
Yeah.
That he likes to go for ice cream. If Diggs likes it, why not?
Yeah. What else do we want to talk
about?
Well,
in terms of that mindset and all of that, I'm going to say it again. I said it last week, and I'm going to say it again. If they win the toss, I want the Bills to take the football on Thursday night. They deferred again. New England drove down the field and got a field goal. Now, it was only a field goal. Mm-hmm. It was early. But it's like, come on, fellas. I want the ball. I want the mindset to be attacking on offense. Sean McDermott talked about that in all three phases being, what did he say? Dictating in all three phases. They aren't doing it on special teams, but that's a different story. But on offense, and the only reason I say that is, man, I want Josh Allen out on the field against Tampa first drive. So if you win the toss, take the ball. It's just my plea to him. I will run it by Sean and see if he agrees with me.
He's probably here somewhere.
Sean?
Oh.
Man, it's quiet in here. It's a little
Sean
scary.
did talk about, too, being like every week in the NFL is a crossroads. They faced adversity before. They will figure it out. But it feels different with where they are at, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's because the reality is they can look at them all the same. It's because you've played the Giants and the Patriots and the Jets, and you still have coming up the Bengals and the Chiefs
And
and
the
the Eagles
Eagles
and the Cowboys and the Dolphins again. So, but honestly, this team does seem to play up to the good teams too. So that's the plus
I guess
side.
that's true.
I mean, they really do.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
they've
fair.
won in Kansas City, before. So let's see when that game comes up. But I think there is something to be balancing between panic and urgency. There always should be urgency. We've said that. It's win or panic in the NFL. But not internally, it can't be panic, but it should be urgency.
Well, and McDermott had a message for his team. We're not sure exactly what that was.
Yeah, they all kind of held back at telling us.
But they referenced the fact that McDermott had a meeting for them about, I would imagine it was about accountability.
And positivity, because I think he wants to stress that. Like, they have to have that mindset
Well,
going on
the
the field.
NFL schedule marches on. You better be ready.
Yeah, it's nice for us to say it's great they're back on the field on Thursday. I'm watching them. I'm in that locker room with you. We were standing there, and I'm thinking, oh, my God, they got to get ready and go play again on Thursday. Now, I know Tampa does too, but I'm just talking about the physical toll in a game. And you jump right back out there and play on Thursday. That's tough. Just keep that mindset a little bit too.
I feel like for me getting up today, I was like, oh.
You're getting old.
Okay.
It is happening.
You will always be older than me. And I love
at least
that.
I'm not.
And I love that about
At least
you.
I'm not double your age anymore. That ship has sailed. It sailed.
It sailed.
Yeah.
That's you're still double my age.
Well, I don't gain 2 years every year.
I know, but
At one point, I was 30 years times your age.
oh, okay.
That's the way it
That's
works.
fair.
That's math.
I was
Syracuse.
like, yeah.
Yes.
It was not a strong suit, obviously.
Von Miller, real quick.
Yeah.
I asked him about it's the first time in his career, no matter what, that he's ever had limited snaps. Now, I do think there was some video. I think he might have gotten banged up in the game. He played 6 snaps, and then he really didn't go back on the field, and they could have used a little more
limited
production.
again in practice.
Limited, but he said he was feeling better. Look, I think he's dealing with it. He admitted this isn't 2013 when he came back from that knee. It's 10 years later. He's been in the league 13 years.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like for me, I moved my expectations with him coming back and being in year 13, coming off an ACL injury. I really did not expect him to be a huge playmaker for this defense right away.
I know.
You could make the argument that why is he then active? All of these things, and I hear that. And I don't know if maybe he did have a setback in terms of his knee against the Patriots. But for me, I am not panicking yet. But I will say, there are a lot of people that are like, where is Von Miller in his
because
production?
I don't think he's ever had 3 games where he's not on the stat sheet and limited snaps. I mean, the guy who came to the Bills, he was in the 75% tile for snaps on defensive line. Like, he just plays all the time.
That's all. He also wasn't coming off an ACL injury.
But even when he came back, and because it was years ago, I'm saying as you look at his career, he always plays. He's always impactful. He's not at the moment. It doesn't mean it's not coming. It just may take a little longer. And I think the Bills would feel like they maybe get a play or two out of him. Maybe this week it's a play or two. Like, it's worth having him on the roster because he's still Von Miller, even though he's got to ramp up to that. It's still a long season left. The biggest games are coming, but I think it is more of a process, maybe even than Von anticipated. I knew he knew it would be tougher, but it's
think
still
that's fair.
I mean,
Yeah.
come on, we're still another month plus away from it being a year.
That's why I'm not reacting to it yet.
Okay. I told you.
I'm in a low positive mindset.
And I'm in a high negative, so there we go.
There was one more thing about Vaughn I wanted to about injuries. Ed Oliver also did not. He was limited, I believe, in practice once again. Sean McDermott made it seem like that'll be a kind of a game time decision type of thing.
That's really big because you say to yourself, if he's dealing with something, playing on Thursday, you don't play again for another week and a half. It's like, do you just say no and go out there and play without him? He's a very important player.
He is.
But you buy that. There's another way to look at it and say, he plays, but he's got a little longer to recover for the next week. Hey, look, they're going to trust the trainers. They're going to trust everybody.
Risk reward is definitely
it really is.
talked about with that
But
scenario.
we'll see. We'll see where they are Thursday night. It'll be fun. We're going to have good weather. So
It's beautiful here today.
I know. This is great.
Someone was saying to me, they're like, oh, it's going to snow next week. It's like,
No, it's not.
Well, I also was just like, shut the
Yes. Seriously. See,
We don't need that kind of high negativity.
We want high positive on the weather. We're high positive on the weather.
Hey, we're going to enjoy the weather.
This is awesome.
I got
right
out of
now.
the Bills media room and just walked around because it was so nice.
Yeah, we just got her out. We said, go take a walk.
It was a very...
cathartic move.
Yeah, I had to do it for my mental space.
There was a couple moments in there.
There always is.
Yeah.
All right, for Mike, I'm Jenna. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Share with friends as well. We'll have plenty of game day coverage as we head into the Bills-Bucs here on Thursday night. Also, check out the Buffalo Plus store, buffaloplusstore.com. Free shipping on any orders over $25. I think that'll do it for us now.
That's it.
But we'll see you later on this week. Thank you, and be sure to subscribe. I already said that. Yeah,
like,
this
comment,
is Buffalo
subscribe.
Plus.
That's it.
Man, I am bad at math.